Hey Robin, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you today, Jen?
I'm good. So you're living far away from home right now. Can you tell me where you're from originally and where you are?
I'm originally from St. John's, and I am currently living in Waldorf, Maryland, about 20 minutes outside of DC.
So let's talk about the pandemic. What was it like when it struck?
It was just absolute chaos when it first struck. I remember in March, it was the second week in March, and as a school teacher, the gossip going around our school building was that, there's a chance schools are going to close for a few days so that we could do some cleaning. Our superintendent at the time said that, there were no cases of COVID at the time, so our school system hadn't planned on closing. And then literally the next day at work, they called an emergency staff meeting, and it was a Thursday afternoon. They told us we were going to report to work the following day with students. And we were to have our students clear out their lockers and desks, and that we were going to shut down for 2 weeks. At that point, I'm not going to lie, as a teacher, all the teachers in the building were very excited for a, unannounced kind of break, not really realizing what was in store. So we had 2 weeks off, and at that time, the whole state basically went into shutdown.
What are things looking like now?
So we've definitely gone through some waves. Over the summer, our numbers here in Maryland started to settle. I mean, we definitely had much larger numbers than you guys there in Newfoundland, but in the grand scheme of, I guess, the United States, we were doing pretty good. So the governor here in the state of Maryland started to move us through the phases of reopening the state and allowing things to somewhat get back till normal. And then September, our cases started to rise again. So here we are 9 months later, and we are still, we've actually reverted in the phases. So lots of things are closing down again. Our restaurants are now gone back to 25% capacity. Same with retail stores. It is mandatory in the state of Maryland. You have to wear a mask. So you do get turned away and not allowed into stores if you don't have a mask. Many people are wearing gloves. And we're following the 6 feet apart guidelines.
And so are most people obeying those rules and wearing masks when they're out and about?
Yes. So thankfully where we live, we see lots of people in the community doing their part to kind of slow the spread of COVID-19. But you hear of stories, especially, we're only 25 minutes from the state of Virginia. So I have coworkers that live in Virginia, and it's very different there. That people are not following the rules, and there's not as strict guidelines.
You mentioned school. How did the school year look this year?
Different than anything I could have ever imagined. I never in a million years thought I would be a teacher in a virtual setting. Someone my age, I know everyone thinks that the younger teachers should be very tech savvy. I, for one, am not a tech savvy person. So we will continue all virtual until at least January of 2021, possibly further even into the new year as well.
So how are you finding the virtual learning?
It is challenging for teachers, students, and parents alike. I face the daily challenge of even getting my kids to log in on time. I'm still holding full day lessons, but trying to get all these kids online and actually focus without the distractions of what's obviously ongoing within their households, or some of my students are in daycare centers. So it is a challenge for every party involved in virtual learning right now.
And let's talk about other areas that COVID has affected. Have you noticed any businesses closing in your area?
Yes, I went into the mall for only the second time since January of last year. I mean, it was as if I was walking through a ghost town. There were so many stores that were either boarded up. Some stores had closed signs for good, meaning they will not be obviously recovering from COVID-19. There's restaurants that have already been sold. So, people in those lines of business right now are definitely struggling and feeling the effects of COVID-19 on the economy here.
It's been a while since you've been home. Do you think you're going to get home anytime soon to Newfoundland?
I hate that question only because,
Sorry.
No, I figured that would be a question you would ask, but it's devastating to me. I thankfully I managed to get home at least once or twice a year, and I'm fortunate that my family usually gets out to visit me twice a year as well. So the fact that I haven't actually stepped on Newfoundland soil since last August is devastating. All my family, my relatives, and my close friends are all still in Newfoundland, and the fact that not only do I not have a trip planned, I really don't know when to expect that I'm going to be able to make it home.
Are there things about Newfoundland in particular that you miss?
Oh, the ocean. The ocean, being able to just get in a car and drive and see the Atlantic Ocean.
All right, Robyn, before I let you go, I want to give you a chance to send a message home. What would you say to friends and family living in Newfoundland right now?
I love you all. I miss you all. And although some of you are definitely feeling like you're stuck on Newfoundland and can't get off of that island, sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side. So enjoy that beautiful province that you live in. And I hope to see you guys real soon.
All right, Robyn, thank you so much for speaking with me, and stay safe.
All right, you do the same, Jen. Thank you.